Praise the name of the Lord. This is Dr. Uzo once more. Today we want to talk about the aftermath of rape. Rape has been a big problem, and we deal with this every now and then in Deliverance. It's on the rise. It's not an issue that the law or the medical profession alone should tackle, which is the normal way people go about it. But the spiritual aspect is deeper, the wound is greater, and the consequences are much more devastating, even down the road. It is said that time is the greatest healer of wound, but in rape, it can even worsen down the road because of all the problem, all the complications associated with it. And we have to deal with the aftermath, which is the spiritual root and spiritual solution concerning this bleeding, intractable problem. Now, we want to examine few things concerning rape. Sometimes, let's go to the natural causes or contributing factors or risk factors that exposes women to rape or sexual assault or even little children to molestation. One of them, for adults, so to speak, is, according to statistics, is first of all is wearing short skirts, generally dressing. We emphasize this a whole lot as children of God. You cannot dress like a harlot, you cannot dress like a whore, you cannot dress anyhow. But people don't seem to listen to this, that this is a contributing factor. Just like in the spiritual, what happened in the natural is so that men are moved by eyes and of course touch. Okay, this happens to women more often, but when it comes to men are moved by what they see and what they hear, and women are moved by emotions, which mainly is dependent on what they hear as well as touch. So if you know that men are moved by sight, then you have to be careful. So in your dressing, so if you dress anyhow or you dress like a harlot or a prostitute and you call yourself a child of God, then the dressing is very key. It's number one when people list the causes of rape according to statistics. So number one here says short skirts. And like I said, dressing in general. You can't be dressing and leave your cleavages or dress like, half naked and short skirts. Don't do that if you're a child of God. To be honest with you, generally, and this applies to everybody. If you don't want to expose yourself to this kind of trouble. Then number two is drinking. Drinking, to which I can also add the use of drugs or recreational drugs, like not just alcohol, cocaine, betadine, recreational drug or mind-altering drugs. They can create problems as well. These drugs alter the mind as well as, open you up to the realm of the spirit and can even make you lose consciousness. And then another thing, the third factor is flirting behavior. And number four is promiscuous past. If you have the history of promiscuity, sometimes people are not healed from these things, or they don't repent, or there's a relapse. Number five is walking alone, especially in dark places at night or at odd hours or odd places. And then, of course, number six is nighttime. The devil is wicked. Everything he does under the cover of darkness. So rape is more prevalent during night season or during night time. And of course, one of the last reasons, which I call the seventh reason that creates or causes rape, is rapists themselves. Preponderance of rapists. And here you discover that no matter who, people are not supposed to give excuses why they are rapists. That is not good. In fact, today in South Africa, it's been proposed by the populace that rapists should actually face a death sentence. And this is funny because let me interject something here. Out of the many cases of rape in the world, South Africa is number one in this issue. It's a bleeding problem. So is the question or the case of AIDS. In AIDS, there are 36 million cases of AIDS in the world. South Africa alone has 7 million cases. And I'm saying this because rape can be associated with venereal disease, sexually transmitted disease, including AIDS, syphilis, gonorrhea, and all kinds of sexually transmitted disease. The same way also that the enemy can transmit demons. Whenever there is rape, there are demons that are always involved. Rape and demons go together, including companion demons of violence, demon of lust, demon of sexual promiscuity. Sometimes it goes with demon of murder, stealing, and mayhem. So, which I call this demon of destruction. So these are the factors that predispose people to rape. Of course, you know that every spiritual problem has, or rather every natural physical problem always have a deeper spiritual root or component. So these are the causes. Now, I want us to deal with where we come in when it comes to deliverance. Most often people go and seek help in the hospital system or legally. They press charges and so on. Of course, the legal case is if the person is found, if the person is caught, if the rapist is found out, the law can take its course. But do you know at the end of the day, the victim is still in trouble if the spiritual root is not dealt with. If the person doesn't get or go for deliverance, so that we can deal with the aftermath, the inner healing, the trauma, the permanent injury, and as well as the fact that the enemy will do it again, whether physically or spiritually, if you don't deal with the issue. Because every spiritual problem, or rather every natural problem, has spiritual solution. How do we deal with this? The person has to go through deliverance. He has to go through what is called inner healing or inner therapy. The person has to go through a lot of forgiveness, a lot of trauma healing, a lot of tender loving care. And in this case, we now begin to deal with the root of the problem so that the demon will not come back again. Because if it's a demonic problem like you know it is, what happens is that it will not stop. In fact, after the physical rape, when the woman or the victim goes to bed to sleep, after, presumably he has healed, the enemy will come, or the spiritual husband will come and continue the rape in the dream, or the rape through sexual dream, or through sexual molestation in the dream, against the person's will, which even complicates the person's issue, complicate their problem, complicate their future, complicate their destiny, complicate their marital life, complicate their productivity, even integration in society. And that injury, that mark, that trauma will go with the person all the rest or for the rest of their life. And it will begin to affect their marriage in future. Sometimes even this rape can produce the so-called unwanted children. And this is where we have to deal with this issue through sozo or inner healing or therapy or wholeness. So, child of God, we always have deliverance at 6633 Mapleton Parkway, Mapleton, Georgia, 30126. So we deal with the aftermath of rape so that the enemy will be cut short, the enemy will be dealt with, the enemy will be divorced totally, and then we walk the person through recovery or healing process, because you have to deal with the spiritual issue, the spiritual root. So I'll talk to you. It's always a weekly program, on Wednesdays at 3:30 to 6:30 p.m. every Wednesday. Talk to you. Bye-bye.